Welcome to the Dotted Lines podcast, where we have conversations with leaders who lead across dotted lines to drive influence and deliver strategic impact through influence and business partnering skills. And I'm so happy to be joined by Deb Pecci from Allied Universal, Global Associate General Counsel, I believe.
Global Deputy General Counsel.
Global Deputy General Counsel. I apologize because I know your title has changed and increased, and thank you for correcting that. And Deb, you and I had the opportunity to work together for some time, and I'm really excited to hear your take on what was a big focus of our work, which was influence and business partnering. And so I don't want to take any more further time, but to cue you up to say, what did that mean for you and your team, influence and business partnering? How did you identify that as an important skill for the legal team within Allied Universal? And how did you deliver it, and what were the results?
Well, first, thanks, Lydia. It's always great to talk with you. And, we spent a lot of time working together on developing my own personal brand and defining who I wanted to be as a leader. And you helped me to really coin the phrase that I'm a business partner first and a legal advisor second. And I knew that was the way that I practiced law. And when I came in-house, that's really who I wanted to be. And so as we refined that strategy for me, what became clear to me was that I needed to also instill those same values and methods into my team. So I think what I took away from our conversation so many times was, how am I going to get this person who's either new to being an in-house lawyer or is used to being very knowledgeable in what they're doing in the legal field? How am I going to get them to partner with our internal clients to do any number of things, whether it be solve a complex problem or drive some change that was going to lead to better compliance? And, as we all know, people don't like change. And generally, when we're telling people we've got to solve a problem or do something differently, it's a lot of work for them. So unless we can get them to buy into what we need to do, none of us are going to get anywhere. So I think what I took away from our sessions and what I tried to teach the team was, in order to be a business partner first and a legal advisor second, you got to first understand the business. And when you understand the business, when you understand the challenges whoever you're working with is facing, what their goals are, that allows you to then be able to use your subject matter expertise and help them deliver on their own agenda and their own goals. So that help is really what it's influence, right?
Yeah. And I have to echo and validate the fact that everybody over the last couple of years really valued your business partnership first. I mean, that was the chorus, the refrain that people said about Deb Pecci. She helps me solve business problems. And that's so often with anybody with a subject matter expertise, be it in legal, HR, IT, finance, marketing, project management, et cetera. When we lead with what is important to us, as opposed to what is important that I'm going to solve for you with my subject matter expertise, we might miss an opportunity to be that trusted partner. But you were able to do that. Can you give me a couple of examples of either from your team or yourself, what shifted when you were building influence and partnering skills?
I think the shift is, it's very easy for us to tell people what the law is, what the requirements are, what we need to do differently. But you get a lot of blank stares on when you start telling people this is what we need to, needs to get done. And the first reaction is, how are we going to do that? That's completely different than what we do now. And, how are we going to ever execute on that? And once you start partnering with them to find that path forward, as opposed to prescribing what happens, it really makes all the difference. You've influenced them to take action. They're part of the solution. You're not just the person identifying the problem, but you are also part of the solution. They're part of the solution. And then you're getting things done. Sketching out an action plan becomes pretty easy once everyone is on board. And They understand you're part of the same team as they are. So
Um,
I think the difference is getting things done, moving things
mhm.
forward.
And that's a very different, you're juxtaposing that with, and I may be thinking about some conversation that we had before this call about advising and letting them do what they will with your advice. That's a very different role and relationship that you're playing. And what you're saying is when I leave it there, if I'm just advising, then I'm not action planning. And ultimately, it backfires because I haven't been of as much value because I can't act on what I've offered up to them versus walking hand in
Absolutely.
hand with them.
That's absolutely true. Again, if someone wants to know what the law is, you can go into Chat GPT and ask them what the law is. But to actually execute and deliver on real results and how they translate into the business, you've got to walk hand in hand. And for the legal team, that's not just with your field operations or your sales team, that's also with your other support groups, with HR. So there's lots of things that we're trying to drive that, yes, it has to be executed down to the job level with the field operators, but it might involve an IT solution and an HR back office function that needs to be involved. It may have an economic impact that your finance team needs to understand about. So it really is partnering across all business lines and making sure there's no walls or barriers to that happening.
Yeah. I will, knowing you and the organization, I will say that I know that you are so highly regarded that one of the challenges that I think you have is having to say no. Can you speak to how you say no to business partners who want a lot of your time because you are, in fact, adding a lot of value?
Yes, very hard for me to say no. And I think it is comes down to developing my team members and getting them to gain the same level of trust with the same group of people. So, and not that I still don't kick off meetings or participate in the opening and then come back and check in to make sure things are going well. But it's really instilling on all of those on my team that that's their role. Their role is to be the business partner first and the legal advisor second. And if they can gain the same level of trust, one of the big issues I think I see in young lawyers is they are very willing and able to identify problems, but they are not as quick on finding solutions. So to me, that's unacceptable from anybody on our team on the legal side. It's not a matter of just identifying the problems. We're going to be part of the solution and we're going to help that. So once I'm able to develop that next level down and get them to really engage in the problem solving and being part of the solution, I'm able to step back a little bit, come back in, check, make sure things are on track, ask for deliverables. I've trained the team that what's really critical is to have an action plan with clear assignments, who's doing what, and so who's responsible and what is the date for the delivery? How are we going to get this done? When are we going to come back and measure that it's actually getting done? And I think that that's gone a long way. Still hard for me to step back from holding hands with everybody. And it's part of what I love about my job is being part of all of that, but developing the team to do the same.
That's great. Final question, because I know we both have to run. What is one piece of advice for a business leader like you with a subject matter expertise, whether it's legal or something else? How do you get started on this path or further yourself on this path of being a more influential leader?
Learn the business. That's what I tell everybody who comes in first and foremost to the legal team. I would say that to an HR professional. I would say that to a finance team member, an IT member. Learn the business, know how it works from the ground up, what the challenges are at every level. And then you can be more empathetic to what's going on around you, more helpful, and more influential.
Good stuff. Learn the business.
Yeah.
From the Global Deputy General Counsel, Deb Pecci, Allied Universal. Thank you for your time. It is a pleasure as always.
Thanks, Lydia. We'll talk soon.